What is going on, everybody? I am getting set up because I'm just a few. We're going to edit this part out because this part sucks, right? Here we go. All right. So, in the news tonight, Blackrock is now investigating itself. I'm sorry, I meant the U.S. government's financial arm is investigating the U.S. government's financial arm. Coinbase did $2 billion in trade volume, all of it overseas. The U.S. House Committee passes a Keep Your Coins Act to protect the rights of self-custody in crypto. And Kyle Davies, if you remember him, he was one of the founders of Three Arrows Capitals. And they bankrupted, by the way, and they ripped off a lot of people. And he said, "Dear USA, you're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom." This is not financial advice, but I'm always right.
It's your boy Bleeves. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, everybody? I am now in a different. I have a new. I have another camera. So I'm using a Dell G15 with a 3060. Supposed to have USB 3.0 plugs. They're all somehow, for some reason, converted to USB 2.0, which means that I now don't have a USB 3.0 connection on my laptop, and I can't figure out how to fix it, and nobody seems to understand how to fix it, but a lot of people have been experiencing it. So I think it has to do, obviously it would have to do with drivers. It's not wiring. I've been through that. I've been through all of the different things, so I don't know, but I think we're just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy ourselves a new laptop and just get over it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. Tony P says, "Good evening. What is going on?" Richard Nelson's in the house. Make sure you smash that like button on the way in. Yeah, I appreciate that. For everybody coming in, please hit the like button. It's the least, the little thing. It's the little thing right there that matters so much right now to help me. Lando A's in the house. What is going on? Maddie B is in the house. Good evening. Jay Locke, is the U.S. going to dump in the morning? Probably. It's what I mean. It's hard to say. First of all, it's hard to say. But in general, if it's the United States, yeah. The United States has never met money that it wouldn't steal from somebody else. Let's face it. Hashtag America. So Ryo says, "Coinbase list Lily. We need to hit that 10 cents. That would be incredible to see it hit 10 cents. Joni Metcalf's in the house. Wagme is here. Wagme dumping. Wagme having a dump again because they did announce that the game has launched, but it was just the beta version in some closed beta testing. So it's to make sure that there are some that there's some ability for the game to be played, and then there will be a forthcoming announcement. So buy the rumor, sell the news was the order of the day. I still feel uncomfortable. I got to be honest with you. I felt very uncomfortable today because I did watch. I want to say that it was announced about 7 p.m. last night that the closed beta was happening, and then a couple hours before that, almost like somebody got wind of it, they sold almost 20 ETH, just randomly sold 20 ETH. And it could just be a coincidence. It might not be. It might not be somebody in the know who's playing people, but it didn't feel very didn't feel very good to see that happening in the timing that it happened. When it happened, A few hours prior, I just looked at it and I was like, oh, well, I mean, people buy, people sell all the time. I don't really put too much into it. But then when I saw it at that moment and I saw the effort by which everybody had just decided to sell just right then, it felt a little weird, like somebody knew something and somebody leaked something to somebody. So a little weird. RW7610, bedtime with Bleeves time. Dude Tyler, what up, Bleeves crew? David Hamaker says, this whole repeg with Terra Luna Classic, a joke. Okay. Dude Tyler says, bones on fire. August dump. Taylor, we did not really have the run that we normally have in July. So it is entirely possible that the script is going to be flipped because we just got a magnificent pump on Bitcoin as of right now. Blackerjack is in the house. Good evening. Bone has stopped minting and the contract is going to be renounced. Justin W says, what's up, fam? Maddie B says, I have dumped 2 wag me agains last week. It's because the team is not of trust. I trust to no one dev team. Maddie B is DTA, man. Don't trust anybody. So there you have it. But anyway, so in the news tonight, just crazy stuff happening all over the place. BlackRock coming after itself. I mean, the U.S. government coming after BlackRock. It's the same difference, right? Are we really pretending at this point that it's not the same thing? So first of all, the big article here, BlackRock, MSCI draws scrutiny from the U.S. House Committee on China. Now, this is not the SEC coming after them or anything like that. A U.S. Congressional Committee on China is investigating asset management giant BlackRock and index provider MSCI, saying they were facilitating investments into blacklisted Chinese companies, underscoring how tense relations between the two countries are rippling out in corporate America. Firms have facilitated the flow of American capital into companies the U.S. government had found guilty of fueling China's military advancement or human rights abuses. The House of Representatives Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party said in letters dated Monday and seen by Reuters on Tuesday. BlackRock denied any wrongdoing. With all investments in China and markets around the world, BlackRock complies with all applicable U.S. government laws. We will continue engaging with the Select Committee directly on the issue. Shares in BlackRock were down 0.8%. They didn't give a shit in mid-afternoon trading, underperforming the main stock indexes. I'm going to be interested to see. I'm going to be interested to see exactly what this says. Okay. The committee does not write legislation, but makes policy recommendations. It's also the power to subpoena executives and officials, something it has not done until now. But Representative Mike Gallagher, the committee's Republican chair, said in April he will issue subpoenas for executives who do not cooperate with its investigations. Companies are not going to disrupt their business models on their own. They're going to have to be ordered. The committee's action against the BlackRock MSCI was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. The true scale is likely much larger than what we know. Other asset managers, including Franklin Templeton, Van Eck, and Wisdom Tree, also have funds or exchange-traded funds with Chinese assets, according to their website. The firms did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Now, I will be interested to see how this happens. The one thing to remember when you're dealing with the U.S. government in some fashion is really this is pandering and posturing to try to make you. They're trying to win votes, right? They're trying to get people to vote. They don't really care whether this is true or not. I mean, let's face it. We've spent years. We've spent now, what are we, 7 years? 7 years investigating Donald Trump for any and every possible thing he could have done, even before he was born. And consequently, the Republicans are doing the same thing to Joe Biden. So, and Joe Biden's got a crackhead son who loves hookers, and they can't even get him arrested. So if you don't think that the system is corrupt, you are not paying attention. So we will see how this all plays out over the next little while. But yeah, I don't feel like BlackRock has anything to worry about. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Kyle Davies. This is unbelievable, guys. I can't stress this enough. Kyle Davies is not the hero that we want, but he is the hero that we need, at least for today. At least for today. Kyle Davies if you remember, Three Arrows Capital, back in, I want to say it was around June or May. It was June. It was June. Three Arrows Capital went down in June and filed for bankruptcy, and they had done such a bad job that they basically didn't have any money left. Like here's the thing, they had taken the money and disappeared. They filed bankruptcy, and then Kyle Davies and Sue Zhu, which were the two owners, I think they're husband and husband, they left the country together and were gone for 60 days, only showing up at the last moment in a bankruptcy court hearing. I want to say it's in August sometime, in order to say that, not our fucking problem. And that's the way that it went until just recently. At this point, Kyle Davies has lost his mind. Kyle Davies says this, and I'm quoting here. He says, let's pull this up. He says, he's fighting the motion to hold. For the avoidance of doubt, I am not subjecting myself to or accepting the jurisdiction of the courts of the United States. He has just decided he didn't have to do what the government says. The U.S. born and raised Davies told a judge in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of New York on Tuesday that he renounced his U.S. citizenship in late 2020 and no longer views himself as under the jurisdiction of U.S. courts. The move comes after months of attempts to force Davies and 3AC co-founder Sue Zhu to cooperate with the effort to liquidate their failed hedge fund and repay billions to investors. Liquidators in the British Virgin Islands put the company, which has assets in the British Virgin Islands, into Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. in order to benefit from the legal shields against creditors provided by U.S. bankruptcy. Davies and Zhu claim to have cooperated with the bankruptcy process, but the liquidators overseeing the wind down of their funds say they've withheld crucial documents for months. Despite the federal judge presiding over the case going to the unusual length of approving subpoenas of Zhu and Davies in December, this is the first time Davies has cited his renounced citizenship as cause for his lack of response after failing to respond to the subpoena. Lawyers for 3AC liquidators asked for Davies to be held in contempt of court, possibly subjecting him to a $10,000 per day fine until he responds, as well as paying legal fees for the liquidators related to his refusal to reply. The June effort to hold him in contempt came a few days after a New York Times profile of the 3AC founders featured their retreat to Bali after costing investors billions with the implosion of their investment fund. This is when they disappeared. The contempt motion also notes Davies frequently makes himself available to discuss the situation with Twitter users, despite allegedly not cooperating with those charged with unwinding his firm's debts. On Tuesday, Davies and his lawyers argued that the court cannot enforce a subpoena against him because he said, look, he's like that old lady in the Facebook commercial, and he says, I unfriend you. And the other lady's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So this is absolutely bonkers and absolutely crazy. And he's like, he just basically said, you're not the boss of me, and I'm not doing it, which is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. I hope he goes to prison for a long time, because he did rip off billions of dollars from people, and that is very bad. I mean, that's, we should at least acknowledge that, even though I'm having a field day with this asshole right now. Oh my God, I can't believe that he did that. Bitcoin, by the way, is about to hit 30,000. For those of you that are paying attention at home, the reversal is on. Here's what's ironic, by the way, in that. What did I tell you that we had to do? We go to the 7-day chart over here. I told you that we had to come down and we had to get the liquidations all the way down to about 28,600, because that's where the big money was, right? Well, when you come over, by the way, and you look at exactly where we went, 28,550. Are you kidding me? Like, that is exactly where I told you guys that it was going to go. Now, I'll be fair here. I had no idea that what's happening right now was going to happen. Like, I had no idea that any of this shit was going to start, because this reversal has been just absolutely incredible for the last little while. I mean, look at what's been going on for the last few hours right now. In the last few hours, Bitcoin's 28,550. By the way, I entered a long for $170 using 50x leverage at 28,600. So it is just kind of pumping away right now. I don't know how high it's going to go, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Like it's just one of them days, you know what I mean? Just one of those good days. So now, so this guy Kyle Davies is just unbelievable. Coinbase is their offshore exchange. Remember, a couple months ago they started an offshore exchange. 1.96 billion in trading volume in the last. Here we go. The nearly $2 billion mark hit last month is certainly a point of note for the company's recent development. That's for the month of July, by the way. So it should be noted that when we come over here and we look at exchanges and we go see the spot exchanges, let's not get it twisted here. This is 24-hour volume right here for Coinbase Exchange, 1.5 billion per day. They only had 2 billion for the entire month. But if we take trading volume and go by that, then we have Binance, of course, and we have these people who are lying. And then we come down here and we get into like some of these lower ones, these brand new startups. In 10, 20 days, they're doing the same amount of volume. So I think that they've done a pretty good job, I want to say, in this period of time with getting themselves into a good position. So kudos to Coinbase for creating something and starting to make it work for them. U.S. House Committee has passed the Keep Your Coins Act to protect your rights to self-custody crypto. The U.S. the FinTech passed the Keep Your Coins Act of 2023 on Thursday. The bill, sponsored by Warren Davison, would ensure that consumers are allowed to maintain custody of their digital assets in self-hosted wallets. The Keep Your Coins Act of 2023 prohibits federal agencies from restricting the use of convertible virtual currency by a person to purchase goods or services for the person's own use and for other purposes. In addition, federal agencies may not prohibit, restrict, or otherwise impair a person's ability to self-custody digital assets using a self-hosted wallet or by other means to conduct transactions for any lawful purpose. So and if this goes through and this actually becomes a law, this is going to be gigantic for cryptocurrency because this is kind of important right here. The debate for Warren Davison's self-custody bill was important. He speaks powerfully about foundational questions regarding the relationship of the individual and the state and why public policy shouldn't begin with a presumption of surveillance. We are lucky to have his leadership. That is so important right now because what the Democrats want right now is they want to know what you're doing all the time. They don't want the merit system. They think you're a criminal. And they think that everybody's a criminal and that everybody is trying to put one over on them because they're in charge of the government by virtue of controlling two of the three houses. So branches. So it's a very weird sort of situation that's happening right now in the federal government. And this, I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out. I do think that would be very interesting. And remember, by the way, 3 months ago, we didn't have any of this, but right now we've got the Financial Innovation and Technology, the FIT bill. Then we have the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. We have the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act. And now we have the Keep Your Coins Act of 2023. So it just in a short period of time, Patrick McHenry, Warren Davison, Glenn Thompson, these guys have come up big time. I think Cynthia Loomis has been out there on the front lines, coming up with all of these different bills and legislations to try to create some sort of framework by which cryptocurrency can effectively operate in the United States going forward. So now it's time for the whale alerts. Let's go take a quick look. And we've got Bitcoin moving away from exchange, onto an exchange, away from an exchange. Nothing really major. All right, look on chain is telling us what here? Let's see if there's anything big that's happened over here that they've investigated in the last little while. Nothing new going on. So now let's get over here. Bitcoin, 29,938 right now, up 1% in the last hour. Just a massive sort of move. The question would be, can this be maintained and will this continue? That's the big question. that I think everybody is going to be asking right now. Is that too much? Bounced off the 50 and the 20, or 50 and the 200 on the 1 hour. On the 2 hour, let's get a MACD going here. Dun, 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 dun. And let's look at money flow sharply sharply coming in. You know what? Let's cancel MACD and let's use Cypher B here. So money flow that we see down here in the 1 hour was red. This means that the price is probably coming back down, but we're looking right here and seeing the money flow is about to flip over into the green. If that goes into the green, that means that we are headed for a ride. So if that happens, then I would expect to see a little bit more than what we're seeing so far. So can the United States, I don't know if we have to worry about the United States, but it's obviously there's good stuff happening in the market right now. If we look at everything seems to be moving towards that red turning green. So money flows are coming in, and that's a great sign. On the 2 hour, we're seeing the same thing start to develop. We had the greens printed everywhere, by the way. Remember, we talked about this earlier this morning, how they were printing, and now money flows in the positive on the 4 hour. On the daily, the money flow is still in the green from the red over here. So on the weekly, it's green. So things are looking remarkably good all of the sudden on cryptocurrency all around. So let's come down here and let's look at SHIB. SHIB, is that pump going to happen, or am I just crazy? And here we go. So we've got a reversal on SHIB. And now the question is, so we broke down out of what I said here was that potential wedge, right? So we broke out of that. So let's go ahead and close that out and see if we're seeing any kind of new pattern emerging here, other than some sideways sort of action. We've been rejected off of this twice. So it would be reasonable to expect that with all of this positivity and the 50-day SMA moving back around this way, that we do a retest here, that we pump into this, maybe we get a bounce here and start making our way up. Obviously, when we look at this, time is starting to run a little bit short on the amount of time before. And by the way, I was saying that this is going to happen on August 17 because it looked like Shibarium. There was a what was that called? They were releasing. You're going to see a bunch of Shibverse stuff. You're going to see a whole bunch of their new MMO, or whatever you call it, the game that's coming out, the Shib Metaverse. So you're going to see a bunch of that kind of stuff being shown, and then that means after that, generally speaking, the most probable move from there is a big push, and the launch of Shibarium. So yeah, everything seems to be getting ready. Everything seems to be in place. The only thing left, and by the way, Bone absolutely sent a few hours ago. So in case you were wondering, is Bone getting close to 210? Bone is getting close to 210. It is actually, it could go a little bit higher than what I said before on the 210. So, you never really know how it's going to play out. I would expect to see, by the way, I would expect to see a retest back down here at $1.50 pretty soon off of this rejection, and then a move back up a little bit higher. But I do think it's going to come down just a little bit more. And I think the money is probably going to start to move over into SHIB in just a second to make this test again. I really think that we're at that drop to zero portion of our show. And I should put a line up here on SHIB saying that this is that, that's the line right there. So we're not going to see, obviously we're not going to see it just go straight up, but we're going to see a retest here, probably a pump through here, maybe even a retest down at the bottom, but we are headed towards this. It's just a question right now of, can we get that flip over and get to drop that zero and then start to make inroads off of the massive sell-off that's about to happen as that's happening. So here we are. There it is. Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. I think this will get on a run pretty soon. So let's close this out. And liquidation levels, we came down, we did the test exactly where I said. All of it's been reloaded. Now we're coming through here and we're starting to cut into some of these. We grabbed all the liquidity. So now we're making that test again. And the question is, at this point, can we get up here to 30,007, 30,008, get up into this range up here and really start to see whether or not we can start to hit some of these big numbers up here and get into that 32,000 range. That's the number that really matters now, is getting into 32,000. I believe the high for this year was 31,481. Don't hold me to that. 31,840. So, I think that, obviously this is a big move, right? A big move like this is usually followed by a big dump. So, it very well could be that we're about to see some move to the downside again. But remember, we also had this happen the last time, right? And that looks like the start of that right there, right? So it would be reasonable to expect that if this were to happen again, and we are looking at this, this is the start right here over the next couple of days. If we are looking at the start of this right now, then that breakout does take us up into 35, doesn't take us to exactly 37,000. I'd be pissed off if that's the case, by the way. If we end up at 35,000 instead of 37,000, I am going to be absolutely annoyed. I can't tell you guys how annoyed I'm going to be if we don't get to that. Blackrock, I was using, this is Vu Manchu. It's Cypher B basically, but it's a different version. And if you come over here, then when you're looking at it, what you're looking for is there's a little red right in here and a little green inside there. And you're looking for, let's make this a little bit larger here so that you can see it. So you're looking at this trend line right here, and there's a red line right there, and that's money flow coming out. Green means money flow is coming in. I suppose what I should do is probably set it up so that it's a specific color, or create my own. By the way, Chart Prime did reach out to me and offer to have me set up my own, what do you call it? TradingView indicator. So I may take them up on that and do something like that with something to show, what the money flow looks like. But if you come up here on Cypher B and you hit the utility and you come into the inputs and you start coming down here and you look at them, you can see them all right there. And then it gives you the style. And then it gives you the waves, bullish divergence, bearish divergence, and it gives you the RSI. And as you come down here, you can find buy circle, buy and sell circles, and then you can see the divergence, sell, gold buys, plots background. So you can, let's do, I want to do a brighter green here so we can see a little bit better, and then I wanted to increase the intensity of it just a little bit, maybe, so that it looks, so there you can see how the green's starting to show up a little bit better. And then we'll do the same thing with red. We'll take this red right here and we'll show it up just a little bit more. All right. And then we'll close this out. Now, when you're looking at it, you'll start to see the green up here. You can see it a little bit better. And the red down here, you can see it as well. And that changes, by the way, depending on which one you use. But I mean, as you can see right here, I can actually put this as actually I could put that on the top, I guess. I'll figure out how to do that later, but I'll put that on the top so that you can see it all the time. But that gives you an idea of the money flow. And basically, really, if you're looking at this, and right now, to give you an example here. So what are we looking at, and what do we think is about to happen here? Well, if this is pumping right now and this stays red, then we're dumping probably hard. So when we find one of these areas and one of these ranges up here where, we feel like we've kind of hit the top and we've hit that wick, maybe 30,000 right there. If we push up into 30,000 and then that wick becomes kind of insurmountable and it starts to come back down and the money flow doesn't turn green, then we know that we're coming way back down. And we can short that because that means that it's a smart move to do a short on that. When you take your emotion out and you just use the signals, then that's what it tells you to do, right? So same thing over here. Like if we're looking at this, we're seeing it start to play out. We're seeing maybe a rejection at 30,000, but we're seeing the money flow come back in. So we think that the money's probably going to keep pumping. As soon as this thing reverses, then we're going to be looking at that downward sort of momentum. And then where are we going to go? Well, most probably the test is going to be, because this is going to start moving upwards and this will start going out this way. We're about to go bullish, but we're going to have a retest on that 50 SMA at some point pretty soon, because we never stray too far away from it. So, we could get up here and then come back down and then kind of mess around here and then bang. You never know exactly how it's going to play out, but you can always look at it and you can guess what it looks like it's going to play out as. So now the question right now is going to be like, what does the European market do? What does the Middle Eastern market do? And then, what does the U.S. market do when we wake up? Right now, it's a nice little pump. It's a nice little recovery, a nice little relief. Let's go to Fairdesk and let's look at what's going on in Fairdesk. Remember, I took a bunch of longs and just random bullshit over here. But I liquidated most of them, by the way, because I took the profit on it. Now we got this Bitcoin 15x long, which is up $464. So we're going to take profit on that one. So we just closed that one. So we are in profit there. Now we've got this ETH one still sitting out here, and we're down $60 on it because we went in at 1880. And then we have our futures trading over here. I don't know if I have anything going on over here. Yeah, I got another Ethereum trade over here that I'm sitting on, waiting to see if that one pops as well. So I think that I think what we're going to do is we're going to do that 1,000 SHIB right there, and no, let's do the copy trade. If you guys want to get in on this, then make sure that you sign up for the copy trade. We have an available balance of about $3,800 right now. I've got about $2 or $3 grand locked into one trade, and that's this one right here. And I feel like, I feel like we haven't gotten liquidated. We haven't been put in a bad position yet. We've gotten very, very close. But I think that, maybe, maybe we'll let Ethereum kind of run a little bit and see what happens. But tomorrow morning when we have a little more clarity in the market, we'll see what happens over there. And then what I got going on MEXC. Let's see. Remember, I had that long going. I had a long going where I was at 30,400 or something like that. So I'm down $300 still. Was down way down, just way down. And then I'm on this long right here for SHIB 20X, and I'm down $12 right now as it starts to reverse and pump super hard. So if I hit the take profit margin, which by the way, I told you guys what I think it's going to do, right? I set it at 87 because I thought like it might do that overnight, but now I'm going to set it to 1,200. So I'm just going to set it for 1,200 and we'll let it go. If it wins, it's $1,137. So there we go. Now let's get into the showdown here. X was having a great day, by the way. So let's start off with Bone, $1.67 right now, up 8%. Volt starting to have a little bit of a reversal up to 28.13. Not a bad move. Matches up with where it was just a couple of days ago on that last little spike. So it came back down. Now it's testing a new high, which is a great sign for Volt because that's the kind of direction that you want to see your trading volume start to go. If you can just maintain the position here and continue to mint higher highs, then before you know it, you're back in the ball game, so to speak. So maybe Volt's got something going on. Link 2.0, 2880, continuing to just send, having a nice little run of it. Pepe is at 1308, having a little bit of a reversal, not a big one yet. Lillian Finance, 3313. Apparently there's something going on over there. But as soon as it ran up here, what happened? a bunch of donkeys dunked on it again, because that's what they do. I mean, it's just what happens. It's just the nature of the beast here. 100x gems at 2878, new content coming out for them tomorrow. Decanex 1760. It's taken a little bit longer, by the way, to get the developers to finish the smart contract creator. So it's taken me a little bit longer. And then, but as soon as I get it, guys, we'll start working on creating a token so that you guys can see it and actually, test it out. So Shib 8424, Advantis 1320, Ben 4680. I'm expecting a little bit more from Ben. I do understand why it's doing this right now, but as you can see right here, it is still kind of respecting this wedge, even if it didn't play out the way you would like it to play. By the way, big spike here. Somebody came in and bought 20 something ETH. The moment somebody bought 20 something ETH, not a MEV bot, by the way, somebody sold like about 19 ETH off of a different wallet. So somebody actively maybe trying to keep that price down. Now, the other part was, I told you that after this 56 spike, if it came back down here and it did it again, expect 53, 54. Well, now it's starting to tighten in this range. That tight range should be for a breakout. But I mean, I got to be honest here. We're still looking at this thing coming from, this is a long-term trend. The worst thing that can happen as trends go is it goes here and then it comes out here and then just does this and starts going sideways again, and just continues on, but has that little mini breakout. Like that's not what you want to see. What you want to see is even if it's down, I mean, you don't want to see it go down, but what you would prefer to see is a test up here at 54 again, a move down to 47 to test it again, and then bang, you're off to the races, and then boom, before you know it, you're sitting, way up here having a nice little breakout. That's the preferred method. So, hopefully we'll see that happen. PSYOP 6796, WAGMI, a little bit of a reversal. It looks like 1572. As soon as it pumped back up to 16 though, what did you have? You had more people selling again. Look, here's the thing. They were cheering you on. They were cheering you on until, they thought something big was happening. And then, there we go. All right. Cult is at 2711 and X is down to 3262. After telling me, just telling me that I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Hopefully there'll be a big reversal here. The market's positive. Hopefully this gets up to 50 million market cap, because I know a lot of people that are in this, and I would like to see everybody make some money, especially the big tippers. If we have any big tippers in the crowd, would certainly love to see those guys make a whole bunch. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, that looks pretty good. So if you guys, by the way, we're gonna finish this off. We're gonna close this out, but I'm gonna point out something to you guys, and this is gonna be kind of important. I wanna, sometimes, and it might be a little complicated here when I explain this to you, but sometimes it's okay to lose. Let's say, for example, you're in X, like there's a risk involved in everything, right? But let's just say, for argument's sake, that you bought X right now, okay? And you bought up here at 44, 45, right? And then all of a sudden, as soon as you bought at this point, because it looked like, right? It looked like it's going straight up. And as soon as you bought, it started to dunk, right? So now it's coming down right here. Now you got two options, okay? And the two options are to just hold it and shut the fuck up, or to sell, right? And if you sell, you're told by the people, that you're going to lose, right? But let's say you put $1,000 in here, and then it came down, and that percentage that it came down was, what is this, 29%. So here's the question. What's the difference between 1,000 and you lose 29% with no tax on it? It's about 30%. So that means you went from $1,000 to $700. And now the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to, right here and right now, first of all, write this transaction off? This is the important part, and this is the difficult part in cryptocurrency, okay? This is the hard part. Do you lose that 30% and do you take $700 out? Because if you sell right here for 700, you miss out on any reversal that there may be. but you also have your $700 back, and you can go put it into something that's pumping like Bone. Okay. So that's a consideration that you have to make. Sometimes a loss is a loss, but you can't do anything about it. And then here's the other part, right? If I were to look at this and I were to say, well, it looks like it's doing this right here, so it's probably going to pump back up and go here, right? Because that's what I'm looking at right now, and that's what I'm seeing. And if I look at this long-term trend, it's trending towards the upside, right? So I have every reason to think that this thing is going to continue moving to the upside. But here's the problem. Problem is, a lot of times we look at that and we don't notice that there's literal spots here of resistance that show up on these charts, right? So when we zoom in here, and we're doing this on a 1 hour, so it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be pretty accurate. Okay. So as we zoom in here, we can see that there's settlement that's happening, right? That there's support and resistance right here. There's support and resistance right here. There's support and resistance all right here. So if this thing does repump, you're going to start looking at this. And this is the part where it gets interesting, right? Now you're down here and it's $700, but it's going to pump back up. The problem is it's not going to pump back up to where you were before. It's going to pump back up to this spot. This is the resistance area. Okay. And if you guys have been paying attention to anything, see this, how it's minting high to it's got two tops. This is the double top, right? What happens when you get a double top? Well, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you on Bitcoin exactly what's happening when you have these double tops, right? Let's go to the day chart. Let's look at the double tops. When we get double tops, we get double top here, dump, double top, dump. Okay. That's the way that these things work a lot of times. When you see a double top, that usually means that a dump is incoming. It doesn't mean that you're about to pump again. So let's clear that back out. And again, now we know here that there's going to be a line, and that line right there represents probably right about the spot right there where that's going to be the maximum pump. Because again, going over here, this is resistance, support. This was both. This was resistance, support, resistance. Well, this is a mixture, but then resistance. So if this thing pumps back up and you're down at this point, this was your $1,000. Now you're at $700. Well, where does this line represent? So the line represents 11%. So if you're going to make first of all, you have to make the decision here that I'm down at 700. I've already lost money. How much am I willing to lose? And what do I think is going to happen? Well, you have to be able to look at that chart and say to yourself, hey, you know what? It's time for me to take this loss, because here's what's going to happen, or here's what could happen, and here's what happens too many times for you. It comes back up here, and you get here, and you're like, oh shit, it looks like it's about to pump because it was pumping up here, right? And if it just does what it did over here, and the money flow, because I see this big money flow spike right here, that must be something good. Well, there's too much red right here right now. So that money flow coming up is going to take you to 38, and you're going to be able to get out right now with an 11% loss, which means you have $890, right? If you don't take that very rapidly, there's a bunch of other people. All of these people over here, they're seeing the same thing. They're recognizing the same thing. The people taking profits down here, they're all seeing the same thing that I'm seeing right here. These are the traders that are looking at it. So what are they going to say? I'm in for 1,000. I'm down to 700. This is my chance to get out with about $880. So I'm going to be watching real close around this line, and this is where I'm going to exit, and I'm going to take my loss. And that's the lesson that a lot of us really have to learn about cryptocurrency. It's okay to take a loss, because that loss right there is actually a win. And the reason that it's a win is because here's what you have to do in your brain. You have to say, well, I put in 1,000, but I lost 300. Okay. So I only have $700 invested in here right now. I've already lost this. This is gone. Okay. So you have to be able to say to yourself, this right here, that I fucked up on. Now I have 700 invested in this. Where is it going to go from here? And from here, it's probably only going to go to this line. Now, it could take off. Okay. You could end up wrong, but would you rather be right and get 10% loss here and then get your 900 back in order to try something else or try 9 other something else's? Or would you like to see this thing run up here for a pie in the sky that you think is about to happen, come down here, buck around here, because again, same thing's happening right here. There's a little range happening, and then it's going to break that, and then it's going to get caught right about here because this is kind of one of those areas, and then it's going to come down here. But at this point, you've already lost. Like at this point, you've already lost. So you have to recognize these things, and you have to be willing to accept that you're not going to win every trade. The best you can do is think about where you are right now. So you lost right here, right? If you don't take your profit, you're going to lose again from here. That's the whole strategy, and that's the whole point. You have to be willing. If you're going to be a trader, then you have to accept losses on your trade and try to get yourself as much back as you can, but be reasonable and expect that you're not going to get the whole thing back. You're going to get a portion of it back. When you get that portion back, take it out and go into something that you think is going to pump again. I was telling you guys, I think this morning, that Pepe is going to start to run again. So, buying down here at 1,200, just imagine this. Just imagine if you did that and you came over here and you got in at 1,220, and then the next thing you know, you're up 10 or 15% in, what is this, 6 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, you're up 6% right now. So is 6% going to get all your money back? No, it's going to get a little bit of your money back. Are you going to hold it for a little bit of time and see what happens? Well, if you look at it from a historical perspective, then the result here is probably going to be that you're going to run up to about this spot right here at 1,400, 1,440, or somewhere close or thereabout. So now you've got another 8% to go. Maybe you make all your money back and then get your money out. You're made whole again. Keep trading. Keep making plays. Keep doing your trades. And then punch yourself in the face for not listening to me back here when I was telling you guys that you got to get in Bone. Because Bone is going to have a massive run. So, just make sure that you kick yourself 2 to 3 to 4, 5 times right in the fucking face if you didn't listen, right? It's okay to lose a little bit. Hey, when Volt wants to partner, then we do the hair again. But I did that. So, but that's the thing, guys. Make sure, sometimes a loss is not a loss. Just forget where you started. Remember where you are, and then from there, work your trade from that point. Accept your loss, accept whatever that is that you're not getting out of it, accept it. Just recognize that that's going to be a loss, and then from there, move on and figure out how to win that money back. This is all, you're just gambling, right? So anyway, this is not financial advice. My name's Bleeves. I'm always right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys for breakfast in the morning, and we'll do some Fairdesk trading, and we'll figure out what to do for the U.S. market today.
Whoa, another shot of the bullet. Loaded, got complex, cocking and pulling. That bottleneck look like the Loch Ness. What are we doing? I'm about to fall out, boy, and the proof's in the pudding. So can we forget about the